Bittersweet night for you tonight because you lost the game, but you clinched the playoffs. What's your reaction to that?
My reaction is business as usual for us. We just get ready for Wednesday, and we've had a hell of a month. And these guys continue to just keep fighting and showing up, and they earned their way through. And that's four times in 5 years for this franchise to be in the playoffs. And last year Michigan on percentages points. And so the adversity that went through the last month is a credit to those guys. There's no consolation in losing, but at the end of the day, the fight for them has been really good. And I congratulated them, and we're on our way to recovering and trying to get the game across the line on Wednesday.
Some teams use the adversity that you're talking about as an excuse. The JackJumpers certainly don't do that. Your players?
Absolutely not. I mean, you're paid to play this game, and you're paid to do the right things. And in our environment, the accountability is real, and our guys show up continually. And this could have been a 45-point loss very easily, and I think a few teams probably would have just said the hell with it and been done. But our guys, kept it in 10, 12, 14 points, and they just kept fighting, and it was a really good sign for them again.
They present a unique challenge, don't they, Phoenix? It was just real high energy for pretty much throughout the game.
Yeah, I mean, we've had 3 good games with them, a buzzer beater kind of in Silverdome, and then we beat them twice. And you have to control tempo and guard the three-point line against them, and we didn't do either of those very well. Obviously, the three-point line was devastating to us.
Are they a hard team to keep up with when you are down on troops because of the speed they play with?
They're not any faster than really anyone else that's shooting that many threes. There's 2 or 3 teams that shoot the ball like that with that kind of mindset to shoot a lot of threes. But they have skilled players and shooters, and they're one of the hardest playing teams for sure in the league.
You were outscored 70 to 45 in those 2 middle quarters after a cracking start. Where do you feel as though it started to turn a bit pear-shaped for you guys?
Well, they made, I don't know what it was, 11 or 14 threes in the first half, and that was enough to create the momentum for them. And we're trying to keep as many guys as we can as fresh as possible. But the reality is that we have at one thing point out that we had 4 guys that are developmental players running around out there trying to keep pace.
With the shortened roster, it must be exciting for a guy like Majuk to be able to unleash.
Yeah, I mean, he's been steady for us, and he's here for a reason. And his role is actually in that 6th spot of coming off the bench and providing scoring, and he's done a really nice job throughout this last month of just filling in after his concussion and his ordeal that we went through with him. So he's a competitor. He's great in our system.
Scott, some teams, like you mentioned before, would just say, we've had our star import go down with an ACL injury and we're down and out, season's over. But how proud are you of this, young group of guys? You mentioned 4 DPs out there tonight who just keep fighting and scrapping every single time, adversity comes their way for, I guess such a young group, really.
Yeah, I mean, we're missing 4 players, and 3 of them are quite critical. So it is what it is at the end of the day, and it's an opportunity. And when you have injuries, that's exactly what ends up happening. And players become players in those moments. And Nick Marshall's a perfect example of a guy that we brought in that was probably just going to be off the bench and playing 15 minutes a game. And DJ starts the season missing 10 weeks, and next thing you know, we have to start him, and we can't get him out of the lineup, and his growth has been incredible. So when the doors open in these situations, when teams have injuries and you can step through and earn your way onto the floor, that's what it's all about. And so we have a lot of guys that are trying to do that.
Tiger Campbell had 10 points and 9 assists tonight. What have you most liked about his production and what you sort of got out of him since Bryce did go down?
I mean, the big thing with Tiger is he's a very much of a ball-controlled guard. He's a very low turnover guy, which is allowing us to usually get quality shots up and control the game at his pace. And he doesn't cough the ball up very much, so that's obviously a positive in general for the entire year for him. And when he's scoring the ball at a little bit of higher rate, that's obviously another tremendous help for us. But he's been very solid.
What's the message to the group at halftime or 3/4 time when you've got an opposition just shooting the lights out, sort of like they were? You just sort of shake hands and go,
I mean, I think they made 6 threes in the second half. I think they had 14 in the first half. So, we tried to make some adjustments. But, once the ball starts going in at that rate, it's really hard to reel them back in. And our speeches are probably relatively pretty simple. Continue to fight and do the right things. We pride ourselves on the accountability of what we're trying to do. And control our body language, represent the state, defend the island, and represent the people of Tasmania the right way.
What are the keys to now causing a bit of chaos or a bit of a run in the postseason now?
Well, I can't even look that far down the road. We got to recover here for 3 days, and hopefully no one's hurt in these 3 days here. What we transpired, we can't practice very much because of that. And we'll just try to get Wednesday across the line, and then I don't know, what is it, 10, 12 days break, and we'll come up for air.
Parky online?
Yeah, Scott. I might put you on the spot to start with. So you're missing the 4 guys. Out of Ben, Bryce, Will, and Sean, which one's not critical? Because you said 3 of them are critical.
All right, Pikey. Well, the one obviously is Sean, just because the fact that it happened right in the beginning of the season, and we already had pivoted to get Tiger. So that one was, forced our hand in the beginning of the season. Not to say that Sean's invaluable; he's extremely valuable, and we plan on bringing him back. So he was probably the one that was out the first part of before this all got going, and then the other 3, obviously. 2 of them within 72 hours gone. It's a problem. Then Ben Air battling for 6 weeks his issue. So that combination of those guys are critical to have bench depth and experience on the floor.
You handled it very well, as I expected you would. Going back to Juk, I mean, nobody's surprised to see him go and put up 20 points in a quarter, and certainly he wouldn't have been. But it sure is fun to watch him do it. I mean, do you get a chance to sit there and actually enjoy what he's doing when he gets going like that?
Yeah, I mean, my relationship with Juk is quite special. He's one of my favorites of all time that I've ever been around. That's including NBA players that I've been lucky enough to coach. And his story of where he's come from and what he's done through, and the man that he is off the floor. And if you saw him around Tasmania, he's the Pied Piper of kids, man. He's a father figure that everyone should follow. The kids love him. He's a great family man. And he's one of my favorites. And to see him have success and see him playing in our environment, and remember whatever it is now, 3 years ago or 2 years ago, that no one wanted him, and come for us to do what he's done, and then win a championship with us. It's a hell of a story.
We talked a little while ago about how once you started losing players, how this was a real chance, especially for Nick and Brody, to get some minutes and to make the most of them. And they seem like they're getting better and better every time they get out on the court and feel a bit more comfortable playing at this level. Yeah,
I mean, they have to get out there and play, and the leash is not very long for them, and the pace of the game, the speed of the game in this particular kind of environment today is really hard to play in when you're a young player, and every minute they get on the floor, and I go back to my NBA days when I was playing, and I was obviously not a starter, but every time I got on the floor, what was at that time called garbage minutes, they were life and death minutes for me. And these young players, I think throughout the league, have to acquire the mentality that they're probably half out of the NBL and not really half in, and have that mentality of walking on the floor to try to establish themselves. And we continue to harp that with our young guys that you're closer to being out of the league than in the league, and that should be a motivating factor. And when I was playing in the NBA, every time I walked on the floor, it was life or death for me to stay as long as I possibly could. And so we're hopefully transferring some of that to them.
And just lastly, Wednesday's still important in a lot of ways, isn't it? Even though you can't move from sixth position, because you won't play that playing game for another 2 weeks afterwards, it's important to make sure you stay healthy first of all, but try and go with some momentum. So Wednesday night's important, especially to go and play in front of the sold-out home crowd again.
Yeah, we've put some home games together finally, of winning those games at home, which we were very, very poor in the first 2 months of the season. And so to finish our last regular season at home in front of that crowd that we love to death, and they keep showing up for us, we're gonna give a hell of a swing on Wednesday to get that one across the line. And knock on wood, we stay as healthy as we possibly can, and as careful as we can to get to that game without someone doing something crazy.
On that note, thank you, Michael. Thanks, Scott.
Thank you.
Thanks, Scott.
See you all.
Thank